Victor Wembanyama figured it out, and now the NBA is in big trouble if that guy stays healthy. Some unreal stuff that he pulled off in the latest Spurs scrimmage. Plus, Zion Williamson, Slim Zion, looking skinny and healthy. Could the Pelicans be a team to watch this season? I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you subscribe right here to the channel. Don't forget to turn on those notifications as well. Donnie, Wemby, I was going through making a Wemby highlight reel, and like everything he does is absurd. It does not look natural. It does not look like it should be possible. But this moment should be particularly concerning for the NBA. Watch this. Wemby, that's Luke Cornett. He's a big dude. If Wemby is off the dribble, dislodging Luke Cornett like that, we're in big.
We have to unpack this. Firstly, he takes it the length of the court. Secondly, he hits a hezzy right there at about 15 feet. And then he pushes Cornett from, 10 feet out to under the basket. Look at Cornett. That. He winds up under the basket. This is very Giannis-esque right here.
Right?
Terrifying. That looks a lot like Giannis. So
I put this out on X, and I had people in the comments say, so what? We've seen Giannis do that before. That's a effing point.
That is
if Wemby is doing Giannis things and Wemby is 8'9", that's a problem. That's a big problem for the league. Frankly, I've thought that Wemby has kind of let teams off a little bit with taking so many threes. If he is, and he can hit the three, there's no question. If you look at the numbers, but you look 90th percentile at the rim, whereas you look at three, he's more of, it's a good shot for him to take. It does space things. Weird that he's in the 39th percentile in corner threes, but 59th on non-corner, shooting a little better above the break. But still, nonetheless, it's a weapon in his arsenal. But I always thought he took a few too many and kind of let teams off the hook by not just forcing himself into the paint and forcing his will there. If he's starting to do stuff like that and he adds that element to his game, that power element, he's going to be impossible to stop.
I mean, he's already impossible to stop. You're not guarding this dude at all right now. You see, supposedly he grew an inch, so there's that. But like, I think you're right on the nose when you say that he lets people off the hook. I mean, he takes 9 threes a game.
Yeah,
it's almost disheartening that a dude is 7'4" or whatever, and he spends so much time on the perimeter. Like it almost feels like you're leaving meat on the bone, because you could get to the rim, just a little hook shot, and you could make a 20-point per game career of just scoring around the rim. Now, I'm not saying that to put him in a box, because that's ultimately what's going to differentiate him from a guy like Giannis, is the ability to score in the multitude of ways that he's already showing that he can do. But it feels like something is missing there if a player spends so much time on the perimeter at his size, right?
I had to go back to this last move, because this is it exactly. Like, how are you supposed to deal with this if he decides that this is what he wants to do all the time?
Right.
I mean, look at where he dunks from here. This is not with a run. This is not full speed Michael Jordan style jumping from the free throw line. This is off of a pivot. He's going to leave his feet here, and he's going to dunk this. Ridiculous. Like, what are you supposed to do with that? That's the thing. That is the point. If Wemby has figured out that I am now this strong, that he's getting stronger, this physical, I think he's a lock to win Defensive Player of the Year because of how many shots he blocks, almost 4 blocks per game last season. The negative impact, he was in the 100th percentile as a shot blocker. The negative impact on opponents' field goal percentage at the rim is absurd. Yeah. But if he's figured out the power game offensively, he could legit be I don't want to get too hyperbolic because we haven't seen him do it, but we're talking he could be in the MVP running. Let's be real. He could be in the MVP running.
I mean, he's a guy that I would project to from here on to be in MVP and DPOY year running, probably for the duration of his career. Like, that's how high his ceiling is. His ceiling is astronomically high. It's just, is he going to be healthy? And that's the most important thing. Like, other than that, I don't really have any other concerns or questions, because obviously he's going to round out his game. He's going to get better at the things he does on the perimeter, become a better ball handler, better shooter. And he's going to get better at finishing around the rim, finishing through contact, all these things as he gets older and his body comes along for the journey, in more ways where he starts to round out his size. I'm not so worried about that. It's just the health. And I really want to make it clear that this guy is every bit the alien as advertised. And if he is able to, like you're saying, figure out the way to really enforce his will in a power sense, that's going to be ridiculous for the league overall. Because, again, that has been what's made Giannis the nightmare that he is, because he was a guy, or is still a guy at this point, of course, but he's a guy that you can't stop him from getting to his spots. He's going to locomotive down, and he's going to go the full length of the court, right? We've only seen a few guys in the modern NBA that are really able to do that. And if Wemby is able to even be like 75 or 80% of that, while having the rest of the skills that he has, he's going to be such an offensive terror overall. So I think that he is well on his way. And like I've said repeatedly, I don't like handing him stuff a little too early. I want to see him go out there and earn it, of course, because he is so far and away the overwhelming favorite for DPOY, for example, that it's almost comical. But I want to see him earn it, but I certainly think he can. He's going to be ridiculous, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So how's the window in the West? Is it closing for anybody else to win things? I mean, if Wemby really has got this figured out, I'm not saying the Spurs are going to be a title contender this year, but I mean, I think the days are numbered where the Spurs and Wemby, and my God, how unfortunate it is that he wound up in the West and with the San Antonio Spurs of all clubs to land there. But that is going to be a really tough mountain to climb for Western Conference teams and potentially teams in the finals coming up. All right, let's talk a little bit about that. Is that window shutting? Is Wemby figuring out? We'll get to that right after this. Oh, plus Slim Zion doing some absurd things in Australia right now. Ever heard of the Sleeper app? Here's a little secret. It's more than just a platform for season-long fantasy leagues. This year, millions of users enjoy playing fantasy sports on Sleeper, but the app offers so much more. Live stats, real-time updates, and visualization on all of them. A news feed with lightning-fast updates, critical for me, and a real-time chat. So download the #1 app today. Experience it for yourself. I made a few picks here for this coming week, and I've been out on Dak Prescott in general, but more than 0.5 passing yards. Yes, please give me that freebie. And then I'm going Jonathan Taylor and Jahmyr Gibbs, sticking with the running backs, having both of them getting into the end zone. If you guys want to get into it, go check out Sleeper. Use the link in the description down below and use our promo code Bulletin and get a $100 deposit match up to $100. Plus, they've got now a new promo, a free $20 entry, no deposit required. That's right, a free $20 entry. Got to jump on that. Again, use promo code Bulletin, get a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. So, Donnie, does it literally come down to, is Wemby injured or not, in terms of whether or not the defensive player of the year is even available?
Oh, yeah. And for the next number of years, unless some fatigue sets in, he's just going to hold on to it, I think. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he wins, if he's healthy, like, 3-4 in a row, maybe a gap year, and then gets back to winning another couple. Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
Like a voter fatigue year?
Yeah, like, unless there's something like that, I could. And it's like, it's kind of hard to say these things because it almost feels like it's overhyping, the prospect here. But I think the key thing is that he is still going to get much better. He's still very young. And so when you already see him have such control on that specifically in terms of like odds already, it's hard to imagine anyone else coming in and usurping that from him overall. I wanted to say really quick though, like just on this initial play that we were reacting to, was that offensive or what?
I've got people in the comments saying it's an offensive foul.
I'm of the mind that, like, I mean, it could be. The arm comes a little bit away, but my God.
Yeah, I mean, I guess here. Does the arm come up there?
It comes
at the left?
off, yeah.
It comes up a little, but it wasn't a full. It's not like he hit him with the point of the elbow either. The fun police jump in and want to put a stop to this. I'm not going to do that.
Because by the same vein, like Giannis gets away with that. LeBron got away with that for like 15 years, whatever. Like, I'm not really calling that personally, but He just the sheer fact, and Luke is not a small dude either. But Wemby is a giant amongst giants, and he makes big dudes like Luke, who's a 7-footer, look small, dude.
It looks like it's a wing that he's dunking on.
He makes him look tiny. I don't know if you've seen the side by side of him like next to KD, who's a legit 7-footer as well. He just looks tiny next to him. So Wemby is a giant amongst giants. But really what it is that he's just so thin framed that's what makes this surprising to see. That he's starting to add that power and physicality to his game. The sheer fact he came out here and did that in like a scrimmage is ridiculous. So
unbelievable. Yep. Unbelievable. All right. Another ridiculously talented player in the Western Conference that, fingers crossed, given the injury history that he's got, I hope that we finally get a healthy season from Zion Williamson, because right now take it all with a grain of salt. They're playing in Australia in preseason. So these are not NBA teams they're playing against. But look at the way Zion is moving out here. This is a slimmed down version of Zion Williamson. And if you see the fluidity that he's moving with, the quickness, he's always been surprisingly quick given his size and his strength. Mm-hmm. He is so explosive out there. And if the weight loss allows him to stay, I mean, look at how much skinnier he is. If the weight loss allows him to stay on the court, that I'm not projecting the Pelicans are going to be a playoff team or anything like that, but this makes them a much more difficult club to deal with on a night in, night out basis if they've got this Zion Williamson. And if I know we've been saying it for years, but if he could stay on the floor, he is a difference maker. There he is getting a steal right there, turning it into transition points. He is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, for sure. You'd have to hope that, the lessened load.
Look at that.
Ridiculous. The lessened load on his joints from him losing legitimate weight, it will help keep him healthy. And we're not showing it here, but there's some like shirtless images of Zion, and he actually is in great shape. Like he looks really good.
Wasn't he fat like 3 weeks ago? Like there were pictures of him that looked, I mean, maybe fat is a little insensitive, but he was a bit overweight, let's say. There were some images of him that were going around like 3 weeks ago. Yeah. And he didn't this is like a UFC style weight cutting plan he must have been on or something, because that weight came off fast.
He went on the Ozempic, and what that does is it makes you not hungry at all, so you just don't eat, and so you just drop it.
So Zion has not eaten for 3 weeks. That's what you're saying.
No, I don't know exactly what he did, but he looks like he's in great shape right now. And probably the best shape I've seen him in. And he said that he feels like his younger self, this and that. So I think that he may actually be able to do it this year. It's funny though, because isn't it also by extension a contract year for Zion?
Is it?
Because isn't he extension eligible? And then the other years after this are the ones where they're not even guaranteed, I believe.
Let me look. I'll pull that up right now. It very well might be. Let me see. No, I mean, they're non-guaranteed years. He is extension eligible, but yeah, $0 guaranteed. He's got the weird contract.
The weirdest in the NBA.
Yeah, we're here, and I'll even put it up. This is how much of a risk Zion.
And this is why he's in great shape. That's my point, though. It's like he's like, I got to get this money. So
you think this is just contract years on? So here's the deal. His contract for this season, it becomes guaranteed due to a games played clause. But guaranteed seasons become non-guaranteed due to games played clause. His contract becomes fully guaranteed January 7th of this year. Otherwise, it's 50% guaranteed. Here's the triggers for it. 20% of his salary for this season becomes guaranteed if he passes all 6 of his weigh-in checkpoints during the 24-25 season. I would assume he did. Otherwise, we would have heard something about that. And then, so he gets weighed at 6 different times throughout the season, and he has to meet weight criteria. Then 40% of his salary becomes guaranteed if he plays more than 41 games, becomes more guaranteed, and he gets an additional 20% guaranteed. Remember, non-guaranteed doesn't mean he's not getting the money. By the way, it's not like he doesn't hit these and he doesn't get the money. It just means if they waived him, they wouldn't owe him that money. They could waive him and move on from that salary. But an additional 20% becomes guaranteed if he plays more than 51 games, and the remaining 20% becomes guaranteed if he plays more than 61 games. Even then, let's say he played 60 games. Are the Pelicans going to say, "Oh, nope, you didn't pay 60%. We're going to cut you. We're going to pay you 80% of your salary, and we're going to keep the remaining 20%?" No, probably not. So I think that's important to keep in mind with this. But still, this is a lot of protections in here for Zion Williamson. Clearly, the Pelicans didn't trust him to stay in shape or stay on the floor, or they tried to protect themselves against those things ending in a disastrous way.
I mean, we got a pro athlete, #1 overall pick, getting fat checks. So like that's kind of crazy, like in and of itself. But yeah, I think the most important thing with Zion, we heard with Luka, JJ was saying like, this is just a lifestyle. And obviously we need to get a couple years from now and see if that round up being true with Luka. But I think the most important thing is that it's not just a phase. Like, you need to make this your identity. This needs to be your lifestyle, that you're going to be in shape. And whether that means that you'll be able to hit 60 plus games, 70 games, or if you're going to continue to be injury prone, who knows? But I think that this is a great baseline for him. And he's another guy that's very clearly a superstar caliber player, right? So
Donnie, you said something. You said that he's how ridiculous is that he's a professional athlete that's got these things in his contract.
Mm-hmm.
When he shows up, is it upsetting? Like when, and I think the conversation should probably be the same with Luka, if we're being fair here.
For sure.
Like, if a guy shows up in this kind of shape, the way Luka showed up in this kind of shape, is that, yay, praise, all right, get excited, he could actually do this? Or does that piss you off more, that why haven't you been doing this the whole time? Right? This is all just diet.
A little bit of both. Yeah, it's all mostly just diet for these guys and what they're eating off the court, right? And so in that case, then yeah, certainly it is a little bit annoying when you see most of the other guys make sure that they maintain good health and or good diets and eating habits, I should say, and obviously don't put on a bunch of excess fat. And then some of the other guys put on that weight, right? And it's a little bit more disheartening in the sense that you see what they can be even with that weight.
Yeah.
And so it's like you're not even playing to your potential, because if you dropped this weight, you'd be everything you are now, but more. Right. So at least in theory anyway. So like, I think that's more another part of it too. But for Zion, for sure, I just have to wonder if how much of his like injuries have come as a result of that, with the way that he plays, how it explodes. Like that's the main thing that's different with him and a guy like Luka, is that Luka's very floor bound, not reliant on athleticism. Right. Like the way Zion plays, you'd have to imagine that factors more, because Luka was still able to kill the league as quote unquote fat Luka and be healthy.
Yeah, Zion's getting hurt every season, and obviously, clearly, if he's this skinny now, clearly was not doing everything he could to stay on the floor over the last few years.
Because he could have done this entire time.
Yeah.
The urgency didn't set in for him.
This is diet. This is commitment. This is, all of those things. And that's where stuff like this, I mean, God, look at how much skinnier he is. It's unbelievable. But that's where it can be frustrating for fans, for Pelicans fans, for NBA fans who want to see Zion be great. That he has it now. At the same time, same token, hey, hopefully he's learned his lesson. Now we're going to see skinny Zion. And I can't complain too much on the Luka side, because he wound up on our Lakers. I mean, we'll take that. And now Anthony Davis has put on 15 pounds as soon as he winds up in Texas. The irony is dripping. I don't know. Whew.
On that thing, we were talking about this a little bit yesterday. AD said that he likes to put on some weight because going into the season he loses weight. But that makes no sense to me, like logically, because if that's the way he does things, and he came into camp last season at 250, right? Yeah. That means that he lost 10 to 12 pounds in game shape, or in gameplay, during the season. He drops to like the 240 area, and here he is reporting to camp at 268. Like what is happening here? That doesn't even make any sense. Does he just stop losing weight at 250? Is that it? Like,
especially given the context of you finally he's been asking for years to be able to play power forward. He finally gets to do it, and now he bulks up.
Yeah.
Now, out of all times to bulk up, like the last few years, do it. You're going to be playing the center spot a ton. We knew that.
Maybe
Great. Over the last few years, bulk up, put on the weight, put on some muscle. Let's go. That's fine. Right. Now he finally gets a chance to do what he's been asking to do for years, and he puts on 15 pounds. It makes no sense.
Maybe
it makes no sense.
Maybe he's somebody where his his body likes to be around 250. So that's the one where you could poke a hole in my theory. Like, it doesn't make much sense. Maybe he stops losing weight around like 249, 250 in that
could
range.
be.
And that's, I mean, he was smaller than that earlier in his career, but maybe now his body, with the amount of muscle he holds.
It's not like he was playing at 235 or something last year. It's not like he reported at 250 and dropped 15 pounds mid-season last year and was playing at 235. That definitely didn't happen.
See, that's my point, though. But like, that's what he's explaining here, though. He's at 268. He says, "Oh, I lose like 10 to 12 pounds in the season." So I'm okay. Well, does that not always happen, or are you just expecting that to happen this year?
Yeah, why are we expecting that to happen when clearly that didn't happen last season?
I don't know, but yeah. Anyway, this summer's been all about the shape guys are in and guys go in both directions. But on Zion, I think that, like I said earlier, he's clearly a guy. We've said it so many times. He's clearly a guy that could be one of the best players in this league if he's just healthy, right? And I think that if he's able to put together some healthy seasons, they're able to really see what they have with him, put a roster around him. I think they could be pretty good. It's just the West is just, man. So I don't know. Ultimately, it's going to take some great roster building and superstar play, of course, from Zion. But I think if he's healthy, he's up to it. And we just need to see it, right? He's lost the weight now. We need to see him keep the weight off. We need to see him put together a run for a couple years where he's healthy. And back to Wemby, same deal. We need to see him really be healthy and stay healthy, because that's the most important thing for him as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Knock on wood. We've seen too many injuries already. Stay healthy. All right, everybody, give us your thoughts in the comment section about Wemby. Has he figured out the physical side of the game, the power side of his game, and how much of a problem is that going to be for the rest of the NBA? Zion Williamson, can he stay healthy? And is it annoying that these guys are suddenly slimmed down when they could have been doing this the whole time? Give me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Till next time, see ya and stay safe.